That's a good name. I apologize to everyone who heard me just punch my microphone for absolutely no reason just there.
Got angry.
Um, but yeah, I'm just really fired up about my MVP of the week, and I know you have the same one. I'm gonna go first because
No, no, take it.
this dude is on both my fantasy teams in those two leagues, so you can't have him. I'm sorry. He's on in our league, and then in my main league, he's on both of those teams. That's Alec Bohm. He leads the league in hits over the last week with 7 freaking teen, and the next best is Mookie Betts with 13. Like, how ridiculous does it get? I assume you have the same one as your MVP of the week.
I did, but I also have another one that
Well, can you
No, go
just
ahead.
talk about Alec Bohm for a second? Because I want to hear you sing his praises. Because I know you'll go. You got the stats. You have everything
No, I
pulled up.
actually don't. He wasn't my first one. He was a guy that I was kind of
Oh,
like, yeah. So
do you have a different Philly?
I have a different Philly.
So forget it. I'll talk about Alec Bohm.
Go
Give me a
ahead, please.
second. Let me
Yeah.
pull this up because this dude has, like I said, has been ridiculous. 581 on base, a home run, 9 RBIs, and 5 runs scored. And really, if you look at his last 2 weeks, he's been incredible for the last 2 weeks. 500 on base, 16 RBIs, 3 home runs, and 10 runs scored. He's one of those guys that I picked up to kind of be like a swing guy, corner infield, third base, first base eligible, kind of move him around in and out of the lineup. He's been a staple. Like, I haven't been able to move him out of my lineup at all in any league because he's been that good. And like I said, the Phillies are hot. And when the Phillies are hot, Alec Bohm is going good. And again, the reason I drafted him, and I talked about this at the time, was because I knew that despite not having like this great season last year, it was 327 on base, which is very good, but it's not close to where he's been this year. He only had 20 home runs. He still drove in 97 runs. I love that production level from him. He's going to drive in 97 runs this year already. He's driven in 26 runs with a 434 on base, and he already has 4 home runs and 14 runs scored. So he's given me more than I expected, and especially in the last week, he's been, like I said, quite literally the hottest hitter in baseball. Mookie Betts has 13 hits. This dude has 17. So Mookie's second in the league in hits, by the way. So Alec Bohm, just been fantastic so far this year, and specifically in the last week, he's my MVP.
Yeah, it's a good one, and one that I don't actually have Bohm on any teams, but I've been following him. I didn't realize until looking right now how freaking hot he has been. So, like, I knew he was hot. He was on my radar, but again, when I don't own any of these, I'm in 8
Oh, it's
leagues, 9
easier.
leagues, and I don't own him at all. So it's kind of
Exactly. It's much easier when you
wild.
own the guy. And my guy, and by the way, you could have fooled me. Like, I looked at your face trying to figure out, was that the guy you were thinking of? And you were
No,
like, yeah, of course, Alec Bohm,
no,
of course. I
no.
was like, all right.
He was one that I had written down that I'm like, okay, if on the fly I need to find something on him, I can. But I did just extrapolate his RBI numbers, which is dangerous. Don't extrapolate numbers. But if you were to extrapolate his numbers, he is averaging about 150, 160 RBIs for this season. So again, I don't expect that.
Again, it's not crazy to think that he's going to have 100, though. He had 97 last
Easily.
year.
I'm thinking
You know what I mean?
could get 110, 120 at this pace, and that wouldn't shock anyone, especially with how good the Phillies are and have been. And I expect Bryce Harper to only continue to be better. He's had a tough start to the year, so a lot of pieces in that team that still need to kind of kick it into gear. But this guy has kicked it into gear, and this is my MVP of the week, who I thought maybe you were leaning towards, and that is Aaron Nola for the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't know if you've been following him at all, but in his last 3 games, he's gone.
I gave you him as my lock or something, right? Recently.
Maybe.
I was
I don't
high on him
remember.
recently. I don't remember. Oh, I gave you him as my who's hot a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what it
sure.
was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's only continued to be hot. His last 3 starts, he's gone 8 innings, and 7 1/3, which, we kind of expected those kind of innings from him. And since giving up 6 in his season debut, he's had a 1.29 ERA in 5 starts. 23 in his last 3 games, 23 innings pitched, 26 strikeouts, just 3 walks. It looks like he's kind of back. I know a lot of people were worried about him after his first start. He had a slow spring. Velo, I think, was down a little bit, but it looks like he's back. Again, throwing 8 innings back to back in 2 starts is just, you don't see that very often anymore. So that's why he was
2024. Yeah.
he was my who's hot for one of the hotter teams in baseball.